Fuck. I gotta say the cuss words. I'm sorry. Anyone that's coming by, I'm so sorry. Guys, let's talk. Let's talk. Let's truly talk. Talk about it. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about it. It's been bothering me way too much. Yeah. Yep. Let me grab some stuff so I can see the comments. Chat. I'm not gonna be able to, but no. Let's talk about this AI restriction stuff for real um because this is certainly gonna affect my channel. Yeah. Yikes. It's gonna be yikes. It's gonna be a very yikes. I gotta have to deal with this, and ugh, oof. But I don't. What did I do? What am I doing? I don't know. This is like my first time I actually used this for. So I'm gonna put this right here. You're gonna see. You're gonna see how it is. Yes, I got my blanket. Yeah. I know. This is weird, but let's be for real. This is kind of like this is BS. It truly is just a bunch of BS. Because I mean, like I could understand it. Like you're trying to like censor. There's like, there's a lot of creeps, but I mean, it's like as soon as they started, as soon as they started, using AI to do their stuff, I lost kind of enough like my respect for them. They don't know what they're bargaining with, because I might not be the only one. I might not be the only one who thinks this, but it's like it's more of the matter. It's more of the matter of if if I get bothered. Like, if I have to deal with their BS. If I have to deal with their BS. Um so like where do I even start with this? Where do you even start with this BS? Other than, you know, it you know, the but the fact that they're just being a bunch of lazy assholes. They're all just being a bunch of lazy assholes. That's what they are, a bunch of lazy assholes. You see, if you really cared about the fucking children, if you really cared about the fucking children, you would have actually you would have actually had your workers look at the videos, look at the comments, you know, instead of using an AI generated to do your shit because you're so fucking lazy. Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, you're getting paid to do this. You might as well be happy that you're sitting on your ass just watching videos just to see if they're breaking the guidelines. And don't get me wrong, like I don't mind like a strict platform. I don't mind, like, yeah, let's cut down with the swearing, but YouTube wasn't even supposed to be like that. You made YouTube Kids specifically for what? Kids. And Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was like, I turned into a demon in this. I'm sorry. I'm I'm looking at myself. Wait. Let me see if I can. Hold on. Give it a second. Oh my god. Wait. The quality sucks. The quality sucks. But I hope you guys can understand my frustration in this. Um it's just like it's not the matter. It's not the fact, that they you know the mere thought. The mere thought was good. But it's just like you fuck it up within a second of thinking that way. Like you think you're like, oh, I'm going to create, another guideline thingy. I mean, like you have YouTube Kids, you could make that a separate you can make that a separate thing. It doesn't need like YouTube Kids could be for like actual kids. And the thing is that like they're just wasting, their platform just because they just want, your information. They want something like that. If you're really worried about like predators or like bad like people like that's promoting evil stuff, like I said, use actual humans to look at it. Doesn't that make more sense than, having a robot to decide for you? Because to me, or to a bunch of other people, this kind of just looks like you're just being lazy. Oh, I can't, like, you guys have all the time in the world to look at all the videos. You got a bunch of you guys working. You got many locations, right? And they just like, you know, you you've made YouTube Kids for what? What is? But no, like it boggles my mind a bit. I'm going on YouTube chat. Um, or I'm going on Discord. Why am I saying that? I just sounded stupid for a second. But no, it doesn't make any sense. And it boggles my mind that they could just do that, and they're like they think they're not stupid for it. Like you look very very stupid when you have a robot to decide for your like for stuff like that, because you like I said, I do agree that they need to be more strict. They need to have people look at the videos, not a robot, so these stupid mistakes don't happen. Now, if anyone here is wondering where I'm gonna end up in because of this, and that's if, but you might end up seeing that YouTube is gonna have a lawsuit. But I'm just saying the if, the huge if, for say, and it's like it's crazy, y'all, that YouTube can like come on YouTube. Like I think I think we've seen. I don't like. I don't even know what the Clippy thing is going on about. Like I don't know what Clippy. I don't understand the Clippy thing for the protests, but like I said, I don't agree that they're using a stupid robot, just a dumb robot, to decide, what's a child doing, because based on of what they watch, that's just damning. That's like damaging. That's just damaging. You know, the platform. That's literally all it's doing. It's just damaging the platform. Because now none of us is gonna want. Now not all of us are gonna be afraid to even want to post something. Like now a lot of us are gonna be afraid to post something, because now, like, we don't want to be mistaken as a kid. And I guarantee you, I might not be the only lawsuit they might have. And like, they need to get their grip together. Because you guys don't know, my viewers, they have made a guideline where they're gonna use like a robot to decide, based on of what you watch, if you're a kid. So if I were to like watch Hermitcraft, or like if I were to like move a little and I accidentally swiped on like a kids only video, because those videos that don't have like the comic section, the a comment section, but they also, and like, you can only like like their video or dislike it or whatever, like, they don't have a comic section, but they don't have like swearing or anything of that sort yet. Like, weapon, if I accidentally swipe on that, you're gonna think I'm a kid now, and you're going to strike my channel because of it. And it's dog, dude, like, I don't know why they don't, like, why y'all gotta be so greedy. Like, you're gonna the whole platform is gonna go kaput, pretty much. I just wanted to talk about it, just to inform my folks here. I'm still gonna like post. I'm gonna still like post stuff and try to like do what I can to post, but like, my fear is out there. I'm not like trying to like threaten YouTube, or I'm not like, theoretically, I'm not really threatening YouTube. I'm making a promise, but it's just like, I just like, they need to hear this feedback, because like, come on, YouTube, you were supposed to be like an outlet. And if people don't know, I started in 2017. I think I created a channel at like 16. I might butcher that. 1 second. No. 2017. So if you do the math there, I was 16 years old when I started, pretty much. And it's practically, and if you scroll all the way down to my very first video, YouTube, very first YouTube, my very first video I ever made, and ironically, I made two appearances on YouTube. This isn't my first channel. My first channel was Fox FNNF, and that was like 2015, very old. But 7 years ago was my first video. I am in Minecraft. Do the math. Do the math there. 7 years. I was 16 when I made this, and if y'all can't do that, like, do the math there, I would be what, 22, and it battles my mind, because yeah, like, my channel is like, it's more like, my channel is more like a PG-13 thing. Like, I will swear, but I won't go too far to like make like gore scenes and like do stuff like that. Like, put like stuff like that, like oh, like like something scary or like vile language or sexual content. Like I won't. That's some stuff I won't ever do. But like still, like stuff like that. It battles my like it not battle my mind, but like it baffles my mind that like they instead of upgrading the systems that they already have, they decide to make a new one that will completely fuck over, not only nearly 90% of the whole people, the population that goes on YouTube. It's going to screw everybody over, and like I said, people are going to be afraid to upload. I mean, yeah, you're gonna see my videos upload, but I'll literally haven't been uploading for practically a month now because I have to wait until I'm a little bit closer to the actual deadline of whatever of my last post. That's what I usually do when it comes to recording and scheduling. But I won't be posting after that because again, now there's a fear of my channel being striked because they're gonna see me, they're gonna look at my channel or see my voice and then see it as I'm young, but I'm actually a 22-year-old man just trying to do his best for his hobby to make other people forget what's around the world, all the craziness in the world. But no, now I'm in fear of losing my passion because YouTube wants to screw me over and screw everyone over and ruin everyone's day. And surprisingly enough, I hate to bring this guy's name up because I don't like bringing politics. This is Trump's fault, but it's not only that, it's also Biden's and anyone who is a politician's fault. you know, it's their fault that they have done it because they don't really understand it, and I don't like I said, I don't understand why can't we just like have humans like look at the content instead of just a bunch of robots because if we did it with humans, because at least now we will know that it's a human judgment of like the guideline being broken. But someone, but like already then you guys don't even follow your guidelines anyways. YouTube, you don't even like I've seen quite literally like you know porn on the web on this website, and there's nothing that's been done over that stuff or stuff that has that type of content. You guys did not restrict. Now that's where I come in. That's where my problem comes. That's where I'm getting about, because not only that, they're you know they're not even obliging to their own guidelines. They're already abusing their power of having such an influential platform, yet they don't know how to use their own fucking platform. What? I just scrolled and I was just looking at her tits. No, no, seriously, like you gotta be kidding. Like seriously, you can't. They can't be doing this to people who actually make a living of this. Because just imagine how many lives they're going to like how many lives they're going to tear down because of this guideline. And I'm just saying we would. Also, I'm really hoping they push in the AI verification because I think Ellie. Well, like I said, I understand. Yeah, don't go after Ellie for that. But um, it's just like it's not the matter that I'm not really against it, but it's just that I just have concerns. I just have concerns. I just have concerns. That's why I'm repeating that so I could so you guys know. I'm just more concerned about, you know, like what happen if there's a bug? Like that what if kind of like corners my mind. Uh yeah, like, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm just typing. Now, I know, like, I'm sorry that I sound selfish. Like, I feel selfish even bringing it all up because, like, I'm only worried about my channel and everything. It's just because, like, YouTube used to be like something you could probably say the most offensive bullshit, and you'd be able to be, it would just be the internet. But in the same time, I do believe they should be strict on the guidelines. But we already have, you know, we already have the stuff for that. That's just like my concern of it, and I just don't want to be falsely flagged because they believe I'm a kid, but actually a grown man. You know, I'm going, but here's the thing. I'm actually gonna try to give it a chance. I'm gonna try to give this AI thing a chance. Before coming into like a full judgment, like a full opinion of it. But like most of what I've been saying currently is just more like an opinion, and like my sense of worry that I'm going to be falsely striked because, like, my content isn't like super bad, but it's just like I don't trust AI to make like a huge decision. I believe like it should be used like in a way to help us, push forward. Like it's just a matter of that. And I mean, yeah, like this platform wasn't even supposed to be for kids. And it's just like we already have, like, I don't know what they're doing. I don't it's just like the mere worry of my channel being taken down or being mistaken. And I really hope that YouTube sees this as like a plea to like specify what like to really specify what they're actually trying to aim for. And I hope that you guys are, at least following along with that a little bit of what I'm trying to say. Or, yeah, like what you can, like, at least bear with me, you know, about it. But it's just like, I don't have any huge offense on it. I don't have, like, a huge offense, like, towards it. It's like, it's a good thing that we're having like they're actually trying to bring it back. They're trying to just they're trying to bring the old YouTube back where you know where when we were able to just say idiotic things and stuff. Just like we didn't really have that much of a worry, but like it's mostly like you know because people are saying that it's mostly going hitting to the adults. But the thing is, if what? But I'm just saying, like, YouTube wasn't even meant to be. YouTube wasn't never meant to be for kids. You know, and it's not like are they just gonna be looking at that, or are they going to look and do like research a little bit more on like channels that seem, because like, to be honest, you would be able to tell the difference, you know. But like, I could see that people, like, I could, I'm calling it that, that people are going to like use the system against people, or to, this is gonna be something that even the bad people are going to use to take down people that they just don't like, because they see it that they're like, that they have like, possibly like bad art style or something like that, or that they sound, like that, or they just don't like swearing. Because to be honest, like, there's some adults, whether you like it or not, YouTube, there is some adults that just like to reminisce on the like old nostalgic stuff. I'm just, like I said, I'm not hating. I don't want to hate you on YouTube for just, like, they're possibly, maybe this is like the beta of what they're actually, like, the higher goal. But like I said, I still want to express my concerns on it, because like, I've been on YouTube for years, and I quite literally have seen this channel, like, this place grow. I've been around, like, I was around like when like YouTube was really weird. It didn't really have a dark mode. It was always on light mode, and like all the stuff where like blueprint, when you like look it up and everything, and like, or it was all like retro, like the 2010 YouTube was great. And it's just like the matter that like the that it's you know this might be a good reason why it may we might need this, or the possibility that there might be a higher goal to it. Maybe they're maybe they're working on it. Maybe we should give it the second thought. But I just like want to, like I said, I still concerned that I'll be like falsely strike again. I'm sorry if it sounds selfish. It's very selfish of me to say, I guess. But I'm just saying, because I want it to be like an outlet for people who need something to run away to. Like, to be that hug that the parents can't even provide. Maybe someone's being abused, and like yelled at, and there's like yelling and screaming around in their house, and they want to like, you know they want to get away and stuff. And my fear is, you'll take down my channel, because that's the main purpose of my channel. It's the main reason I'm going. That's why I started posting videos on YouTube and everything. I mean, I'm just a humble guy. Like, and everything. It's just like, I wanted to like express my concerns about this, because, like I said, we really should not be relying on AI to determine if something is if the determine if something is like child made, or like an adult made. I like the idea of it a lot. Why? Why do I scroll and I just okay? But I'm just saying, like, it's just a matter. I like the idea, but I don't like what they're going on about it with, you know, because you know they have YouTube Kids for a reason, and they could just make it when you do make that account, you like based on your birthday, like make the birthday thing acquired, you know, like add a birthday thing that if the birthday there's a limit like when they turn 13, pretty much like the birth like if they were becoming 13 this year for say, they wouldn't be able to comment yet until next year. Like something like that sounds like a better alternative than having a robot decide, because if we're using uh your For You page of like what you watch, the system can there could be a bug in that system, because if people don't like what people don't understand, like AI is very easy to break. I mean, I mess around with AI a lot. I know how it works, ironically. And my thing of it, like, I'm not against the idea, but when it comes to having a robot, decide for you, things can go, like, I could see things going south, per se. Like, I'm predicting that something will go south in the near future. Like, because, like, people like Cyrax is still online. There's people like Mini Lad that's still online. YouTube, you haven't done nothing. You're not supposed stop acting like you're our savior here. You're supposed to be the middle guy who makes the glue, pretty much. You've created the platform. You have guidelines. Just have real people look at these videos to see if it's breaking the guidelines, and if it's breaking your guidelines, strike them. You know, because like I said, like the old way of how YouTube did it was a very YouTube then was great. You know, because like I said, people like it was viewed by a person, and even then, instead of having like if you wanted to give feedback, you wouldn't get like a robot generated reply. You would get an actual response from a human being from YouTube. I kind of miss that. That you are able to like actually get feedback from a person. You know, Oh, someone uploaded. No. Okay, but yeah, that's just like my concerns. YouTube wasn't. You weren't really even doing anything about your guidelines in the first place. So why are you caring about it now? Yeah, you guys did not lay. You guys laid out the rules, but you guys are not laying out the justice of your own guidelines that you guys do not follow, and you're prying into people's you know AI, like you're prying into people's information instead of going by birthdays. But but I was going there, like I said, back to the whole birthday thing again. Like I would actually prefer, you know, if it really comes down to it, just separate both like YouTube Kids from like YouTube, and like they could make a whole new setting of their own. Like I'm throwing out all these ideas to you, YouTube. And I really hope some like please like someone like actually like send this to YouTube or something. I want them to at least hear this out, and like they have heard before. I did, yeah. If I get falsely striked for being expected, like suspected from the AI bot as a kid, because like I said, that my For You page is actually pretty child friendly. But now, like I said, I do worry for my own gosh damn account, because you know how you're relying on a robot to to set down some rules of like my age. But instead of going by of like already made channels, like mine, I should not need to give my ID, because by now YouTube should know how old I am, considering how long this channel has been around. It's been around for 7 years, and I started at the age of 16. So if you add that up, you know by age, 7 years from 16, I would be 22. And it's just the crazy thing is, it's like, you know it's just the mere that we should not trust a robot when it comes to that stuff, because you can break it. And I have broken stuff like that is AI related before. So there is loops around it regardless. Now, because to be honest, for you, YouTube, all they need to do, all those kids need to do is just watch horrific content for like 2 hours. Excuse me. And their whole view page will be all of it. Why am I getting hiccups? But I'm just saying, goodness. I'm just saying, like, I don't know how they're going on about it. You know, we all don't know. But I just know that me and Fibers. Oh, gosh dang it. I'm sorry. I'm like hiccuping and talking at the same time. I don't know why I'm getting the hiccups again. But I'm just saying, like, me and Fiber, we might not be affected by it, but it's just like the mere concern of it. I'm afraid of being falsely striked. Hold on, I'm trying to give myself a minute. Ugh. So just let me give me a minute. I'm gonna be right back. I need a drink. Sorry about that. I needed a drink. But it's just, you know, I doubt me and Fiverr are going to be affected by it. It's just the mere thought of, you know, just like the mere thought of us, me and Fiverr still being like falsely striked because some of our content does come off as like child friendly. Like I have a few videos that have it. YouTube, please, like, cut me some slack because YouTube, please, like, cut me some slack because not my voice. But I'm just saying, like, you don't like they don't. We don't really know how the system's gonna work, and that how everything's been, and people are saying like the internet's gonna die, and I'm still gonna post. It's just, I really care about YouTube a lot, guys. I really do, and like my fear is that it would die. I can because YouTube was it's literally my way of just like, getting away from a lot, and it's just like, it just scares me because I won't have that outlet because there's been, you know because a lot of people are gonna leave the place. I mean, it does mean there's a possibility I will blow up, possibly. I don't know, but in the same time, I just fear that, like, Weapon if Fiverr gets striked, because like we both have some stuff that we just don't swear, and there's this, Weapon if it gets marked for kids, and me and Fiverr, we don't want to be put be put into a position where we literally are about to lose our channel or something like that. Like we don't want to like have to be in fear of losing our stuff. But this whole dilemma of like people using Clippy and all that, I don't know. It's rough out here, and like, don't get me wrong, it's like, is it like we don't know if they're just targeting, like, they're just doing that to check up on to see if everyone is of age, or what, if people are supposed to be of this age or not, or if people are lying about their age just to be on the channel when they're not supposed to be, or on the platform when they're not supposed to be, you know something like that. We don't know, because they're using like an AI verification thing. Yeah, it's just, like, I guess, like, if they do push it, I mean, there's a possibility that me and Fiverr just don't get affected by it. And yeah, it's it's just it's just a matter of the fear of just being falsely reported. I mean, like the VR too. Like I don't think because it did say like Minecraft was for everybody, so the possibility that they just like we won't even be bothered. I'm gonna look up the guidelines here. The YouTube AI guidelines. That's not what I did. That's not what I pressed. Oh, you. So, hello. Hi, Jade. How you doing? I'm just talking about the AI verification thingy. I'm only just expressing my concerns about it, you know. Okay. So, let me see. Let me see. Blog. All right. I'm doing okay. I'm doing as best as I could be, Um, I found religion and or not religion. I found Christ and I started getting into a relationship with Jesus, you know. So I've been doing okay. He's been taking care of me pretty well. It's just that the world, I know a little bit too much, I guess. That, maybe I know a little bit much. I really do appreciate it. So, what we're seeing here says people coming to YouTube to learn about and to be entertained. This is a true, even for the youngest audience, and it's why we remain laser focused on making sure that they have a safe and age appropriate experience. Over 10 years ago, we launched YouTube Kids, and 4 years ago, implemented supervised accounts for preteens and teens. All right. Well, let me just highlight all of that, and pretty much like they have YouTube Kids for like they honestly could just move like for like the pre instead of having it for like babies they could put it like for like, teenagers too. They could have put like 13 put like 4 to 13 up for YouTube Kids or something like that, or like because most of the problem of YouTube of why there's like a bunch of kids that are on it that they really shouldn't be on here. It's because of the parenting, but I mean, like, I'm not going to give YouTube my bank account at all, but I mean, to be honest, I'm not really worried about my ID being exposed. Everyone here knows how old I am. People here know my age. It's like I make that blatantly clear. My I make it blatantly clear my age and everything and my intentions. But I know that there are some people who just generally like their privacy, and it's just like it. Like I said, I only express my concern because they're using AI to run a guideline protocol for say. Mine was created in oh well. Yeah, so they got this AI stuff, and they just I just feel like they can go on about it. Should we actually like call them to express like or contact them at some point. Maybe like put up a stream and contact them so you guys can hear, from them themselves. Maybe we could clarify it up, maybe. But I'm not someone who likes like putting out like podcasts, Like I said, I'm just like a normal dude. So honestly, I don't know if they're gonna take my opinion lightly, or that they're gonna care enough to look at it at my lens of view. That I just don't want my channel just to be striked because I watch a lot of innocent stuff. Because like to be honest, I do just watch Foxes. Like I watch like Save a Fox and all the other things. Like it, like stuff like that. Like I watch like quite a lot of innocent stuff, and I just don't want to be like mistaken as a child to the point where all my stuff gets taken down. Everything like I worked for gets cut off because they think the AI system thinks that I am a child, you know. But it's also like YouTube's been around, like had this idea for quite a while, and it's been like around that like 1984. YouTube's been around the whole they're going on this whole you know I'm a big brother now type stuff, and ironically this I could see this stuff going quite south. I can see it going like completely north of what it could be. And like don't get me wrong, it is a very good idea that we start focusing on like restricting for like kids and for like other people who might accidentally see like something bad. But in the same time, it's just like the hypocrisy is like that. All you gotta do is change your for you page. All you gotta do is like recommend adult stuff to get yourself around it. And and to be honest, they don't really need to do like, they just need to like amp up more security per se. And like the AI system itself could be like just the beginning of what it is, and it's there's a possibility, that they do have good intentions. They just want, it's either maybe they just want to, you know I'm just trying to reason, as trying to think as a corporate, like in their head. They're just they're not just thinking about the adults, they're also thinking about, they're trying to think about the kids. But you just gotta like, all you gotta do is just you know get like very very adultish stuff. And the unfortunate part now, I gotta do that to make sure I'm fine, something like that. Like I gotta literally uh let me see. Like me and Fiverr, we we do a lot of swearing, so there is a good chance. There is a good chance. Ugh, that like that like it could be just a coincidence. But that's like, if you really want to get away from, like, if you really want to get away from this whole stuff, if you guys look up Crimson Lapis, we have so much unfiltered stuff that it could possibly get you out of whatever, you know, restriction you need, for the adults, obviously. If you're a kid, you shouldn't be watching it in the first place, but, like, it's not my business to tell you what to do. But I'm just saying, if you really need, like, content that is just, really high and above, me and Fiverr, we do not pull, like, we really do not pull our like, or hold back on our punches on it. So if you really need something to, like, lean on, I always got that Crimson Lapis channel to work on. That would be like, you know, uh, and I might. It's really hard to say, you know, what like what to say about it. It's just, what the heck. But I'm just expressing my concern about it. It's just that it worries me a bit, because there's so many. I just feel like so many things can go wrong with it. You know, it's just like a lot of things can go wrong with the AI verification, but maybe the platform might need it. Maybe it's just like the beginning of what they want to do, or trying to bring it back. Because, like, don't get me wrong, putting up the AI for now, and it might be crap now, but there's a possibility that they'll upgrade it to the point where it's like, they will be checking it or something like that. And it's sad. It's sad that it really brings up a lot of scares to a lot of people, and but yeah, like I said, it's just like, I just want to express my concerns about it. You know that I just, like, it's not that, like, I believe that it's bullcrap. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if, like, they might be, like, they're probably, like, working on it as we speak, per se. and like, we also got, like, all the other stuff, to it. Ugh, goodness. Oh my gosh, but yeah, like, maybe it's like we won't have to deal with it. Like, maybe there's just, like, that maybe. Sorry, I just saw something horrifying. I just saw something very horrifying. But uh, What the heck? What am I watching? I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. Why is everything falling on me? But I'm just expressing my worry. I don't want to come off like as a complete jackass or someone that's like supporting it. It's just like I'm not really on anyone's side on it, to be honest. I'm just really concerned that if I would just get falsely striked because, I have some stuff that might come off as child friendly and there's just some stuff that I like that is child friendly. It's just because there's people like me who just don't want to watch bad stuff, you know the stuff like the very stuff I'm trying to literally avoid, and like the whole point of me being on YouTube was to help people get away from that type of stuff. And like stuff like politics or you know like YouTube isn't it's not gonna be like a porn site. It's not gonna be like that bad. It's not gonna be super bad. It's like, but in the same time, we're relying on an AI that could possibly screw so many people over, and I'm just, worried that I'll be one of them victims, and my best friend too, because me and him like to watch pretty like child-friendly stuff. And I'm just worried that I will get affected by it, and that I will have to show my personal information to YouTube just so they can see that I am 22, despite how long I've been on there. Like I'm 22 years old. I can think for myself. You know, I guess that's like a fair trade. YouTube. I mean, I swear a lot, but I'm only I'm only expressing my concerns. That's all I wanted to talk about. Um, if you got like opposing opinions on it, don't be afraid to comment on the live stream about it. Like we're all here to agree to disagree, but just try to be nice, everybody. Like even though that I know that there's some people that might believe in the guidelines being good, and there's some people who believe that the guidelines is just invasion of privacy. And in the same time that we're still just remember that we're all we're still people, and their opinions should be okay to have. But I'm not gonna flip. If you have a question, it's gonna and you decide to comment on this, I'm just letting you know. No, despite even if I were to disagree on it, I will still have it show up on like the comment section, because we need people to have opposing opinions, and because that's the only way how we can all come to a conclusion and an agreement for YouTube to either realize, or like that we can ease concerns for people who are actually worried, because to be honest, I don't believe the AI system is going to work, and I'm just predicting that a lot of people are going to go out, because that they are watching like child friendly stuff. Ugh. Or that they should be like redirected to YouTube Kids, because that would make kind of sense. Like, to be honest, if they did it like that, you know, it's instead of like deleting stuff, they can just direct it to YouTube Kids, because I mean, like, it's supposed to be a sub platform for a reason. So that's just what I believe. But that's all it is. Just a belief. But if you have a posting, just comment down below and you'll see. You know. We'll see y'all in the end. You know, we'll see y'all in the very end. Oh, I can make a poll. How do you end a live stream? I do not know how to end. Hold on. I can. Oh. Okay. I'm done. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be posting. I just recently posted, so you just wait. I got that Circus Baby video coming out, or that is out. So go watch. It's out. The next episode or the next video you will like because it's a Verdant Dominion. You guys will like it, and stay tuned because Crimson Lapis will be uploading a bump at some point. Right now, I'm just taking like a mental break. You know, on stuff like that. You know, I'll talk about that. I'm sorry. You know, I was gonna end the stream, but let me talk about that. But cause you know, just to clarify why I just suddenly that sudden change of heart. Uh, yeah. So in the midst of the day of me and Fiverr, me and Jeremy hanging out, I had like a mental breakdown. You know, obviously it was because I triggered a schizophrenia episode, so I called to the Lord. And the crazy part about it is that like when I called out to the Lord, I was like, Lord, Lord, please, please take away my like all my pain and all of my but like my schizophrenia and all my burden that I have on my shoulders. Just please give me peace. And then like and as soon as I cried out, all that to him, he like within like a second after, like I felt like the most comfort that I have ever felt in years. And like, you know, to tell everyone like to back then, you know, like I'll be honest with a lot of you, like I wasn't really mentally okay. And, I mean, like I got like I said, I got addicted to weed, and I'm still like slightly fighting it. I'm like fighting the urge for it, and it's just like it had a grasp on me. It originally became like a luxury, and that's the thing about what I believe, what what sin or what stuff like that is like. There's a lot of people who say marijuana is sin completely, but I believe that it's until it goes above God, is until that's when it becomes a sin. That's like when it becomes gluttony, that's when it becomes a sin. But it also can be a sin if you're not really using it for its purposes. Because like marijuana is supposed to be like a medicine, right? For like stuff for like schizophrenia or anxiety problem, like super anxiety problems, stuff like that. It's like it's supposed to be a luxury. You use it when you need it. You use it when it's the right time for it. But I've been neglecting that for a very long time. I mean, like I quite literally would buy like 5 blunts to 9 blunts a day, and that it's been taking way too much of a toll in my life to the point, I was getting so like super depressed, like over the smallest things, and like I was like looking at it like you know that I had a lot of like self hatred, and I was a very hateful person, per se. I really hated everybody. I projected my anger towards of the stuff that happened to me that was completely against out of my will, you know, and like it was just like the matter of time, like I'm like still healing from a lot of like pain and like endurance that I literally have been blocking off for years, and now I'm just letting my actual emotions out, and start to actually feel comfortable being me. Per se, like because like I'll be real, guys. You know, I'm already quite like self-aware where I'm at. Like I know that I'm like not the most attractive person. I know that I'm not the most funniest person. I know that I am extremely weird to be around. And, like stuff like that, like, knowing a little too much, I guess. Because, you see around what's going on in the world, and you're probably like, all the wars that's like supposedly going to be happening, with, like the talk about like the rapture being on like September, a week on my birthday, you know, and just like the main struggle trying to keep myself together, to hold myself together for people like Jeremy and like his family, or my mom or my dad. you know I quite literally bottle a lot of stuff up, because I just, I really don't want to become a burden to nobody, because like all my stuff is just self-hate, so it's really just pointless to fight me on about it, or tell me it's pointless, like it is a pointless battle to face, but I still have those recurring thoughts of like, stuff like that. And I don't know, I don't know if you guys are feeling the same, and if you are, I really do wish you well. But you know life is rough, man. Like, you know you know like even if like in a Christian, even in like a Christian perspective, like, yeah, you're saved from God, but I still have to look at what real of the world that I'm currently living in, and all the conflict that I just don't really want to have to see. I will have to see towards it, and it's like, the mere thought, like, you know like all the stuff that talks about the rapture, and people are thinking that they're seeing the rapture. I mean, we all don't know that. Like, so you don't want to live your best life, or you do live your best life through the glory of God, but, you know, it's just like, God. I think God understands. Like, we still get hit with reality of everything and all the conflict that happens with it, and I think that's what God understands. That's like the main struggle. It's because I know, I keep myself a little updated, and like a lot of things that I've like said has went actually true, and the mere thought that, Trump, like the idea that I keep, like I predicted I predicted Biden, losing this year, like, this year on that vote, on the time where it was voting time, the voting month. I did, I like, you know I was right. and it's scary because I was also like I quite literally just got done being homeless, and like that was like emotionally like tearing of its own, like I quite literally was fighting, like trying to make sure that my ex fiance would actually feel comfortable in her tent, like try to comfort her at the worst time where we what where she needs it the most, and that like there's so much stuff going on, and there's a lot of crazy people. You would hear like screaming, you would hear like gunshots, there's people passing drugs around. Like I had to bear through all of that, and even have to fight like a guy that was like practically like doing pot, having to face a guy with a hammer, and to get hit by the hammer and get a broken rib from it, trying to protect, trying to protect, my ex girlfriend or my ex fiance's family, despite the times that I will always get belittled by her mom and all that stuff. Like I was belittled a lot, because I was a man, and they're used to abusive, like men, like toxic men that would display their strengths as like a pedestal, you know. And she goes like people like her going around like doing all that stuff. She's getting drunk despite being in a tent, and she's fine with being homeless and all that stuff. Like despite the discomfort of her daughter being like a grown woman, and she wants to be with who she loves, but now it's being tied around her arms and being dragged down with her. I had to quite literally witness all that slip away from my hands, because like obviously I did predict that Amanda was going to backstab me. I did predict it. I predicted that she was going to do it regardless, because I knew that she was just putting on a fake parade for me, and she didn't actually care about me, despite that I nearly I was bottling everything up, like like this year I became quite a crybaby. I've been letting my emotions go numb to the point that it kind of scares me. I'll be real, like I wasn't mentally okay, and I don't know if I'm okay or not. I really don't. I just at this point I just want to believe that I am alright. I mean, God has a plan for whatever I have, but it's just that at this point in load, it's like I have like a blindfold of what what I'm supposed to be doing. Like there is a higher calling of what I could be doing. Yet I just like something is really preventing me from seeing it. Like YouTube was something big for me. And I know I'm blabbering like 20, I'm yapping for 20 minutes about it. But I just feel like yeah, y'all need the update. Y'all need deserve the update. Y'all been treating me well. and I just needed to bluntly say it out loud because like I know if I just contemplate about it, I'll just try to keep I'll just try to keep stalling myself from saying it that I'm not okay. You know, I'll just keep saying stuff like that. I'm just not okay. Like I'm just gonna keep saying yeah, everything's alright. But like in reality, I'm just as scared as a lot of people here, and I know that I'm acting cocky, I'm acting like ignorant for the reason to deceive you from so you guys wouldn't have to see the real world, having to see how the real world has become. I really do want to be like that blind side where you got if you really just want a breath of fresh air or something like that, you can get it from my channel or something like that, like that's what I want. Because to be honest, I really didn't get that in life, so or get the time, like I especially didn't get the time to do it, you know, in this year, in most of this year. And that type of stuff can be a lot really scary. Like I had to bottle I bottled a lot of emotions to the point where it became kind of numb to deaf ears, and like you always try to question yourself. I always have that fear of like, oh, I'm gonna become like a psychopath or some murderer because I'm some yeah, like yeah, I'm schizophrenic, and and like the fear of losing. I really feared the loss of my emotions because like I don't like emotions really what makes a person a character, and like I trust God whatever He has planned, and I hope I'm walking the right direction towards Him and all of it. And it's just like the reality of the world really kind of caves in. The world caves in on me a lot, and it just like it gets to the point where it gets hard to breathe. And I know that there's probably some people out there that feel the same, and I'm just I'm hoping that they'll go and seek out like people who just want to make them laugh or something like that, but yeah, that's like the update of me. I mean, don't please don't worry about me. Please don't make me a burden. I don't want to be no burden to nobody. I mean, I stayed strong by myself. I mean, I raised myself what I can. I mean, I did my best to make myself as much of a decent a person as I can while the world kind of burns around me. And like we all have to like raise ourselves. Sometimes you can't really rely on your parents to grow yourself up. You know, you can't really rely on yourself on your parents. Sometimes you gotta grow up on your own to understand the reality of your situation. Um, like I'm open about my addiction, and I'm willing to talk to anybody. If you guys need help, like if there's people who are addicted to something, I can give you like some sense of like of what I did or how I'm fighting off my how I'm trying to fight off my addiction with weed. And we just we just need to understand the gravity of situations first. What is this going? What's going on? Oh, this is rumbling for my fingers. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm smoking a thingy. But but I like I said, it's just like stuff like that. I've just been the reality of of how the world's been, and that my religion and the pressure of my religion has been, it's just like it's been a hindrance to my faith in Jesus, and it's not like a huge hindrance, it's not doing a lot to make me not believe or pull me away from it. It's just like it brings me to like to it just brings back that sort of type of fear that there's something that's gonna happen where I can't control it again, and I'm just gonna like all I can do is just mentally like, because like, to be honest, I don't really know how to control myself when it comes to my emotions. Like I won't hit anyone else. It's just like I will hurt myself instead. And like, I do like occasional like, when I get to that level, like in a very very deep level, I will say that like, yeah, I will like sometimes like resort to like self harm, because like, like I said, I wasn't like mentally all there, and I'm just beginning to like work on, I'm just beginning to work on myself on this. So like, it's just like the sad reality of myself having to like fix what's been broken, and not just that. I mean, I'm not here trying to sound like an emo kid, but it's just like, I look at stuff realistically, you know, and it's just like, when you look at stuff realistically, you just you know you could see it already given like, you know urgency of how the world is, and it's like, for me, that's like, it's so suffocating. It's so suffocating for me, because like, I'm struggling to like keep. I'm trying to like, trying to keep myself together with the stuff I have, but my schizophrenia and my anxiety that that keeps me being extroverted. It really does keep me from being like extroverted, and it just like it really tears. That's like something like that, like having like schizophrenia and like having to deal with it without no medicine, but also it being like always, like it's always on like second stage type stuff, like my schizophrenia is always on the second stage, so it's always active. So like, I really empathize with people with like schizophrenia, and like all like that, that social anxiety. It kept me like introverted, and like, now I just don't know how to like progress my emotions the way I want to do it, and I'm like, like, I'm figuring out my emotions like it's a puzzle piece, like you can already tell by damage by my like my mouth, If you focus on my mouth, like why my mouth is like that is due to because from my past, I was like a neglected child. I was abused, I was bullied, I was etc. What's ever bad, you can name it. It had happened to me before. So like all that stuff is like it's just piled in because I don't exactly have close. I didn't really get any closure per se. Like yeah, I already ended up forgiving them for that type of stuff, but it's just like damage. I'm already doing damage repair of something I just already like now realized of. You know, like because like I will now just realize that I'm not doing well, you know, and like hold on, I'm gonna yeah, but I'm going to comment like I'm gonna put like a comment if people who just want to see my mental health or I might move that a little bit lower. I gotta rewatch all of this, but yeah, it's just been like all that stuff has been like sorry. I didn't know I can. How did I just do that? Sorry. I got distracted. No, like you could see from my mouth alone, like that holds the past a little bit, you know. Because like I had to focus on like survival when when I was a lot younger. I had to really just focus on school, the pile of school, and like I was like I didn't really I was afraid of having to talk to my brother or my dad, but you know so like I quite literally forgot hygiene. That's what happened to my teeth. But but all the damage repair is being left for me, and it's equivalent if like like if a bridge was conveniently placed somewhere to the point where it breaks down to the point, and it's like something about it makes it look so natural, so people don't look the other eye at it, or take another glance to see, oh, that's a bridge type thing, like maybe like you've made like like a stone bridge. I don't know, like with concrete and stuff, and it just happens to break down out of weather. Let's say like the weather is like it's the emotions that break down in the bridge. You get what I'm saying. Like I quite literally didn't know I was messed up until I settled myself down at the age of like 22 to figure out what's going on. But well, I mean, I did figure it out like a little bit sooner than that. Like when I was like I would say 20, 20 around like 20. That would be the somewhere around the that would be around the Gmod arc, or the not the Gmod arc, but the Silver Age arc, the Silver Age. Um, so like like it really took all the way to the Silver Age of my channel to even like realize, to like really settle myself down to see it, where my mental health was. And I mean, I was, to be honest, I got like at that point I was getting worse. and then like 22 it settled, but like and like 20, well, I mean 21 it settled, and then 20 when I turned 22, and it's like all this stuff happened, so I had to bottle up all over again. And now being back, I can rewind off of myself, and now I'm already again doing damage control of what's already been done to me. So, and I don't exactly have a lot of self-respect, so I've been struggling with stuff like that, and I just want to be real with you guys. I mean like I said, for you viewers, I don't want to keep acting like I don't want to keep acting ignorant and like portray myself as in just someone who can be always carefree, but like I want to show you the side of me where I can actually be vulnerable a little bit, so like I've been doing a lot of damage repair, and like it's just like people haven't been treating me so kindly. So that's kind of what brought why I bring up why I said I hated people is because I didn't I have been treated horribly for pretty bad reasons throughout the past years. And I mean, like I'm really trying to be my best me, and like I'm not on any pedestal of anything, I'm not really I don't really put myself on a pedestal of nobody, but just being a person who is, just as crooked and just as dorky as anyone else, like, I'm not really exactly any different from anyone else. But, I just feel like you guys deserve the most because, you, like, the 400 people who came and like watched my channel, me seeing that meant like I made 400 people smile, stuff like that, like I used YouTube as like an outlet, you know um if people might not recognize or have not known uh about like Minecraft FNAF, stuff like that. Like I was like watching stuff like that while I was being neglected and all that stuff. So like that's kind of how what brought me here on this platform in the first place. I know I'm jumping to conclusion, but you'll see where I'm going on with this. But I just feel like like everybody needs to like understand in a way that YouTubers are still people, but we shouldn't be putting them on such a high like pedestal. Like people put like PewDiePie on like a pedestal, or like Markiplier on like a pedestal, and like we don't like we're all like pressuring them to make the best like content, but not the content that makes them comfortable. Like the content that they just want to post because it's their hobby type stuff. And um, it's just like people like me. I that people will always like. There's not gonna be an ever ending stop of me ever being this having ever a second glance, being told, oh, that's just a person who's been through a whole traumatic event and just you know trying who's just still trying to fix themselves, because like there's a lot of people on this platform that is doing that, but that I just feel like you guys deserve the honesty, and like you know the whole the whole idea of being, yeah, to me, I just really want to have to open it up because maybe someone needs to hear it. That like even on the toughest times, I endured a lot, and the hardest part, the biggest middle finger that you can give somebody is enduring it. Acting like acting like nothing is going on. Keeping them wondering if what had actually even affected you. Something like that. Simple, like something simple. Is like the biggest middle finger you can give to a person. So if you're ever struggling with people or anything, it's always best to endure it, figure it out, stress the situation, and finding something that would act, making you happy instead of worrying about what others think. But something like that. That's a lesson I haven't been taught when I was younger. But along that you guys, I'll pass that in that wisdom. I would say I don't think it's I don't think I'm wise, but I'm pretty sure someone out there has said it. But it's whatever. But yeah, I just said it's the biggest middle finger you could ever do to somebody is enduring whatever they're trying to conflict on you, and then coming and doing whatever you want to do that makes you happy, like nothing ever happened, is the best way. Is always the best way to counteract this negativity and this self-destructive way you can prevent yourself from becoming so self-destructive and something like that because yeah, I was young and I didn't as much as people say that it was out of my control. I did need that lesson. I really did wish that somebody had said that. you know but you know I mean, I was old enough, you know but I understand, you know and it's just if people are comfortable enough to just let people open up a little bit before coming to conclusions and stuff, maybe the internet wouldn't have been so bad. Maybe the internet could have been a good place. You know, it doesn't need to involve. It doesn't need to involve religion. I mean, I don't need to bring my relationship with God about it. As much as I will be, because I'm a Christian, but you know, and just in common sense, in a common sense that we could have, that all of this was going to happen regardless because everyone didn't just let each other open up a little bit about themselves, and that all of us already came to point fingers at each other and knives and guns and other stuff because we have opposing, we're all butting heads. We all have different political views or different religion stuff. Instead of supporting that for them, maybe if that make them happy, if that's what their opinion is, you know, we're the internet was we just communication doesn't exist no more. So I'm gonna stop blabbering. This was supposed to be like an update and like something about me talking about the stupid robotic AI verification stuff. Um, the heck? That is a phone. Oh, weird. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me. I mean, I hope. Dear gosh. I just hope that I'm like taking a look at my screen. Oh my gosh, it's like fuzzy. Yeah, it's just I hope someone's listening. At least I did say what I said, and I practically could be like I told you so to the people who didn't listen. But thank you guys so much for watching the stream. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.